Shalom, shalom, everyone. Just waiting for a few more people to join on to First Tabernacle Fellowship. Turn up and talk it out Tuesdays, where you can bring any discussion, any topic to the table. Of course, just waiting for a few more people to get on. So that's what we're doing. Enjoy some music. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Come on. Uh-huh. All right, we are broadcasting live. I don't know if I'm gonna have a whole bunch of people join today. Every Tuesday is different. But for those who are watching live on the YouTube, shalom, shalom to you. You should be able to see a link where you can join in the conversation if you want. Um, I thought I had a few people who said they were going to join today. However, I'm not too sure where they are. We're going to wait a few minutes. Uh, if they don't join, I'll share some of the things I've been studying this past week, give you an update on me. I don't really want to do an update on me. This is not supposed to be about me. This is supposed to be about the youth. First Tabernacle Fellowship, located in Sacramento, California, has opened up a roundtable discussion forum on Google Hangouts, where the youth, young adult, and those not so young but still consider themselves young, those can come out and bring topics of discussion to the table. You know, any questions, concerns that those youth may have that don't get covered by their pastors, preachers, ministers, teachers, parents, guardians, whether it be on a Sunday or whether it be on the actual Sabbath day. You know, this is a forum where you can bring something to the table and say, hey, what's up with this? You know, I read this in the scripture and this doesn't really get talked about. So that's that. That's what this forum is about. This forum is about, bringing different topics to the table. I do not want to be the only one talking. Actually, I don't want to talk, but sometimes it be that way. But this is a forum where you can bring, like I said, you can bring whatever's on your heart, mind, soul, and spirit to the table, and we can delve in more intrinsically. We can delve into scripture. We can delve into history that corroborates scripture, and by history I mean secular history, where we can, talk about archaeology, anthropology. We could talk about these things and see how they line up with the scripture. Because I know sometimes, pastors, preachers, ministers, teachers, they don't really elaborate on why we do what we do. So it leaves people with questions. I know I had questions since I was a little girl about why I did what I did. So when I started studying, I found out a lot of answers to those questions I had. And First Tabernacle Fellowship has opened this up because we don't shun anything away. Anytime somebody has a question, we don't shun people away. We if we don't know something, we'll go research it. If we do know something, we'll give the information out as to where it can be studied and researched. That's what we're about. We're about putting the information out there and then letting the Holy Spirit do its thing, which is lead and guide people into all truth. The Most High Yahweh gave everybody a brain to use, and we know that with the power of the Most High, people can come to a righteous conclusion if they sincerely ask the Father to provide them with the conclusion. So that's that. Shalom. See somebody coming into the chat. See somebody coming into the chat. If this is Brother Osman. Just trying to pick up some things. I know this past weekend I went to the California Science Center down in Los Angeles, California, to see the Dead Sea Scrolls exhibit. Dead Sea Scrolls. Back in 1947, some Bedouin shepherds, chased one of their goats into a cave, and they chased one of the goats to a cave. Something was thrown into the cave, and the Bedouin men heard a jar breaking, and so they went in and discovered these scrolls. And the archaeologists was like, "Hey, let's go back over there." So they start digging up. They start finding a whole bunch of scrolls and a whole bunch of caves. It's like 900 scrolls, I believe. So let me send this out here. All right. All right, so we got some more people joining, having some difficulty with the link. But that's just what's going on with me. I know I and Pastor Holman were discussing last week what I was studying. I was studying the Nephilim. I started studying the Nephilim because, a few people have an issue with the book of Jubilees and the book of Enoch because it talks about the angels and the Nephilim and the fallen ones or whatnot. So I started doing some intensive study on it, and I started putting some scriptures and history in a Word document. I still haven't, let out my conclusion as to what I believe the Nephilim are, but I am going to come to a solid conclusion with the help of the Most High. So that's that. All right. All right, let me clear some things up over here. I think somebody's trying to get in, but I can't end this call because I'm going to end the broadcast. So let me see here. All right. Let's see here. All right. So while we're waiting, I just want to say that the Dead Sea Scrolls, they were written by the Essenes who went into the wilderness in Qumran. They separated themselves from the Pharisees and the Sadducees because the Essenes believed in Yeshua Messiah to come, and they pretty much went into the wilderness or the area of the Dead Sea, Qumran area. They did that, but they wanted to help usher in the Messiah to come. All right, let's see here. All right, let's see something here. All right. All right. Try to help somebody with some technical difficulty here. Oh, hold on. Okay. Details. All right. All right. We got a few people going to join late, but we'll get things cracking. We'll get things cracking in a minute. Let's see here. All right, so while we're getting in, we have a few people still joining in. So, all right, let's see. I know sometimes you have a little difficulty getting the links out and things like that, things of that nature. If you, I know sometimes the web browser, I know on Safari, if you're using a Mac, on Safari, you have to download the plugin so that you can um, click on the link while watching the YouTube to join into the conversation. You possibly have to do that as well with certain web browsers that you're using. So I just want to make sure I let you guys know that. So we have a few people still joining in. What's the possibility? If the timing of starting at 6:30 p.m. is not good, then we'll possibly start at 7. But I'm not too sure. This thing is still getting up and underway. So while I'm here, I'll talk a little bit about this week's parashah until we have some more people joining in the conversation. I do want to say parashah means Torah portion. If you're not familiar with what that is, we go through the Torah in a total of 52 weeks that make up a year. In each week there's some scripture to read from the Torah, and then there's scripture to read from the half Torah, which are the prophets, and then we make the connection to see how everything goes in line with the Brit Hadashah, or the renewed covenant. So this week is called Ki Tavo. The Ki Tavo means when you come. Starts at Deuteronomy 26:1. I'm reading the scriptures version from ISR. It says, "And it shall be when you come into the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you as an inheritance, and you possess it and dwell in it, that you shall take some of the first of all the fruits of the soil which you bring from your land that Yahweh your Elohim is giving you, and shall put it in a basket and go to the place where Yahweh your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell there." So the children of Israel are at the last leg, about to cross over the Jordan to go to Canaan, the promised land flowing with milk and honey. And this parashah, or this Torah portion, starts at Deuteronomy 26 verse 1, and it goes all the way to chapter 29 verse 8. It's a lot of the book of Deuteronomy reiterates what was already told to the children of Israel, starting from Exodus chapter 20. all the way up to Numbers. And so Deuteronomy is just Deuteronomy or Davarim. Davarim means words. So the Father's just reiterating these words. Uh, this is the parashah which has the chapter 28, the blessings and the curses. Chapter 28, verses 1 through 14 talk about the blessings that'll be upon the children of Israel when they go according to what the Father has instructed for them to do and obey. I'll just read a couple verses here. Deuteronomy 28, starting at verse 1. And it shall be, if you diligently obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim to guard to do all his commands, which I command you today, that Yahweh your Elohim shall set you high above all nations of the earth, and all these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you if you obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim. Verse 3 says you'll be blessed. Blessed are you in the city, and blessed are you in the field. I like this verse right here. Verse 6, it says, blessed are you when you come in, and blessed are you when you go out. Verse 9 says, Yahweh does establish you as a set-apart people to himself, as he has sworn to you, if you guard the commands of Yahweh, your Elohim, and walk in his ways. Verse 10 says, and all peoples of the earth shall see that the name of Yahweh is called upon you, and they shall be afraid of you. Man. Let's skip down to verse 12. It says, Yahweh opens to you his good treasure, the heavens, to give the rain to your land in its season, and to bless all the work of your hand. And you shall lend to many nations, but you do not borrow. Verse 13 says, and Yahweh shall make you the head and not the tail. I do want to pause there for a second, because I know a lot of people in our situation right now we don't see these blessings coming upon us, and it's because of the fact that the Father says, if you will obey my commands, my statutes, my judgments, my instructions, you will have these blessings. And right now we're seeing curses because we're not being obedient as the Father would like us to be to his instructions. And that's where verse 15 starts, the curses. And I know these are probably some of the things we see going on in this day and age right now. Verse 15 says, I'm still in Deuteronomy 28. Verse 15 says, and it shall be, if you do not obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim to guard to do all his commands and his laws, which I command you today, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you. Cursed are you in the city, and cursed are you in the field. Whew. Man, verse 19 says, cursed are you when you come in, and cursed are you when you go out. This is something I paid attention to, because a lot of people don't believe that Yahweh puts ailments and disease on us. A lot of people think that these diseases that are coming upon us, like leukemia and cancer and high blood pressure and sickle cell and things of this nature, people think those things are coming up on us due to other things and not what the Most High Yahweh says. They don't think that Yahweh's word is true sometimes. I don't know how they don't see that, but that's why I encourage people to read and find out what Yahweh says he will do, what Yahweh says he won't do. Find out what matters to Yahweh. Find out what does not matter to Yahweh. I know a lot of people say, well, Shanti, this doesn't matter, that doesn't matter. And I'm like, man, please read the word for yourself and see what matters. Verse 21 says, Yahweh makes the plague cling to you until he has consumed you from the land which you are going to possess. Verse 22, Yahweh strikes you with wasting disease and with inflammation and with burning and with extreme heat and with the sword and with blight and with mildew, and they shall pursue you until you perish. So the Father is not playing. The Father comes off as this mean person. However, a father on this earth naturally is loving, and a father disciplines their son or daughter when a son or daughter goes in opposition of what the parent says to do or not to do. So just like our fathers here on earth discipline their children, punish their children for being disobedient This is what the Father in heaven does, Yahweh. Verse 27, Yahweh shall strike you with the boils of Mitzrayim, with tumors, with the scab, and with the itch from which you are unable to be healed. Man. Verse 29 says, and you shall be groping at noon, as a blind man gropes in darkness, and not prosper in your ways, and you shall be only oppressed and plundered all the days with no one to save you. Verse 30, you become engaged to a wife, but another man does lie with her. You build a house, but do not dwell in it. You plant a vineyard, but do not use its fruit. That's deep. Verse 32 says, your sons and your daughters are given to another people, and your eyes look and fail for them all day long, and your hand powerless. A people whom you have not known eat the fruit of your land and all your labors. Verse 35 says, Yahweh strikes you in the knees and on the legs with evil boils, of which you are unable to be healed, and from the sole of your foot to the top of your head. Verse 36, Yahweh brings you and the sovereign or king whom you set over you to a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there you shall serve other mighty ones, wood and stone. Thus you shall become an astonishment, a proverb. Let me just stop right there just for a second. That's a lot. I know sometimes these curses are said to be following a certain group of people today in this time. From the times of the Israelites being persecuted and scattered from the land in 70 AD all the way up till now. It is said that these scriptures fit those people who have been escaping persecution. The Father says he would scatter us into the land, to a nation, man, to a nation us or our fathers not have known. And so this book, the scriptures, and when I mean scriptures, I'm talking about Genesis to Malachi or Genesis to Second Chronicles, however your book is ordered. Scripture is a book of prophecy. It's a book of instructions and a book of prophecy. And prophecy can happen over a certain period of time, not in our time, but a certain period of time. Because you know the Father, he doesn't operate in our time. So, you know, when Yeshua says, you know, behold, it'll come quick, you know, Yeshua the Messiah is quick, might not be our quick or our definition of quick. So we gotta be mindful of that sometimes. But yeah. So this let's see. Yeah, the children of Israel have been in the wilderness wandering for about 40 years. So we on the last the last chapters of the book of Davarim, and actually let's see, next week Parashah closes out the book of Davarim, and then we'll go into our Yom Teruah celebration, the feast days. You know, we're going to celebrate Yom Teruah, or the Feast of Trumpets. Then we're going to celebrate Yom Kippur after that, or it's called the Day of Atonement. And after that, we're going to have a celebration, Feast of Tabernacles, or Sukkot, or Feast of Booths, for 8 days. Will we dwell in tents, anticipating the dwelling of the Most High with us through his son Yeshua, as it says in John chapter 1. I'll read that. Let's see here. Yeah. Yochanan chapter 1, verse 1, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. He was in the beginning with Elohim. All came to be through him, and without him, not even one came to be that came to be. Let's see, the verse 14 is the kicker here. It says, and the Word became flesh and pitched his tent or his tabernacle among us. And we saw his esteem or glory as of an only brought forth of a father, complete in favor and truth. So, yeah, that's that. So the Feast of Trumpets, the Feast of Trumpets. Let's see. What goes with the Feast of Trumpets in the Brit Hadashah? Let's see. Uh, 1 Corinthians 15. First verse 51 in 1 Corinthians 15 says, see, I speak to you, excuse me, see, I speak a secret to you. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. That is that is tight. So that's why we celebrate the Feast of Trumpets. See, the feast days go in line with the coming of the Messiah. Um, the call is to come when you hear the trumpet, and then the Day of Atonement is when you're cleansed and getting ready, and you're getting ready so the Father can dwell with you or pitch His tent with you at the Feast of Tabernacles. So that's why uh, when I started celebrating the feast days, I started to see the connection they had to Yeshua the Messiah and why they were so important to celebrate and participate in, because they are a rehearsal. That's pretty much what they are. They're a rehearsal. The first time we hear about the Feast of Trumpets is, I believe, Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23. Let's see. Yeah, verse 23 of Leviticus 23 says, and Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel, saying, in the seventh new moon, or the seventh month, on the first day of the new moon or new month, you have a rest, a remembrance of Teruah, or day of the coverings or soundings. Okay, a set apart gathering, a holy convocation. That's what a set apart gathering is, a holy convocation where you meet with like-minded believers. Okay, verse 25 says, you do no servile work, and you shall bring an offering made by fire to Yahweh. So that's where we see the Feast of Tabernacles at there. Excuse me, the Feast of Trumpets there. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. I know we are waiting on a few more people to join, possibly having some technical difficulties, but that's okay. Things happen, we understand. Let's see. Bear with me one moment. see here. One moment. All right. Getting a few more people logged in here.
Yo,
Yo, it's
can you see
William.
me?
Yep, I can. Shalom, shalom.
Okay. Shalom, shalom.
Yeah,
How was the vacay?
vacay was cool. Vacay was cool, nice. I talked a little bit about it when I first came on here, but I'll talk more about it. No problem. You coming back from work?
No. I'm doing an errand. I'm running around with my mom. I got a Cyrus. He right here. Uh,
Osiris.
say what's up. Say what's really good.
He looks
He
so
looking
grown.
like what?
Yeah, but the
like
vacay was cool. Yeah, went to the science center was amazing. The Dead Sea Scroll exhibit. Man, when you first went in, you saw these pottery these pottery jars, and then you seen one of the jars that the scrolls were actually kept in, what they look like.
oh oh
And
wow.
they had a lot of bowls and pottery out there along with the scrolls, so you can see, a whole story just unfolding before your eyes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I have
cool.
a I have a newfound respect for the Essenes, man. I mean, they wrote on everything.
Hey, I believe that. I believe that. You had to back then. You had to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And before before they were writing on animal skin and papyrus, they was writing on clay. Definitely.
Oh wow. So like your
Yeah,
stone tablets like Moshe got.
exactly. Yep. They were writing on those, and writing in them, so you can see the imprint that would last for a long, long time. So yeah,
That's crazy.
you could tell they got great, like, craftsman skills, great engineering skills, because man, everything you could tell was made by hand.
Really? Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
that's all they had back then. It wasn't no
Yeah.
laser cutter.
Yeah,
Let me
they
tell
was
you.
they was highly skilled for their time, and I think right now, I think we're catching up to some of the technology they was using when it came to their brain. I mean, so
Everybody in that region had, you know what I'm saying? They had algebra back then and all kinds of stuff. They built the pyramids. We still can't build the pyramids now. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So there's all kinds of stuff back from the era
right,
during
right,
Babylon and the whole I mean Samaria, all of that stuff that we still haven't really been able to catch up to.
right,
You know, if you think
right.
about it, we should be a lot further than we really are compared to how they was back then. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
if
I
if,
mean, go ahead, keep talking.
if I was gonna say, just if we on the path of making steady progress, then we should be a lot further where we are because they had some stuff that defies what we got today.
Right, they
So
definitely
yeah,
do. And you saw, they had the coins out there. They had the coins where you have this intricate engraving on them. You know how on the coins we have, like, the heads and the buildings are perforated in such
yeah,
fine detail that you can see wording on them. That's what they had back then. They was doing that back then.
that's crazy. That's hecka crazy.
Yeah, they was doing that back then. And one of the things that amazed me was I was able to put a visual to the weight and scale system. And they had a scale, right? They had your scale, but they had these little They had balls of weights, and they were a different size, so you can tell they were different weights. Um, different kilograms or whatever, whatnot. And so I didn't know how they did the weight system back then, but to see that visually was cool. Because
Yeah,
they had a ball like this size, and they had a ball like this size, and they had a ball like that size, and a ball like that size, and they just went up in the line.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's hecka crazy.
So I
That's
was
the
like,
trip,
damn.
man.
Yeah.
I'm reading about, what I already read through as I got through Exodus and stuff like that. Got through Shemo, talk about how, like, the different measurement systems that they use. They were called different things, but talking about you shall bring this equal to a weight of, I can't even think of the name, because the cubits of length. I'm trying to think of the weight they used to. Or was it shekel? Maybe was it a shekel?
Yeah. That's for silver.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was just quite. It was. I mean, it was just a few things, man. That's a trip, though. That's cool that you actually got to put, personal eyes on that. You know what I'm saying, and see the what it was, and it's like, man, that's a trip.
Right.
That's beautiful.
And man, you know, the Essenes, they went into the wilderness out there because they were the ones who you know didn't like the Pharisees' doctrine, didn't like the Sadducees' doctrine. They believed in Yeshua the Messiah. They called him the leader of the community.
Oh
You know what I'm saying?
wow.
And they're the ones who wanted to go out there into the wilderness because they wanted to usher in the Messiah. They believed in the Messiah to come. And actually, people get confused off of what the Essenes said because they said there was two Messiahs. It says
Really?
Yeshua ben Yosef and Yeshua ben David. But
It's the
the
same
reason
thing.
being, it's the same thing. One is a priest and one is a king, and that's what he was in one. It's
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, honestly, you got Yeshua ben Yusuf. I mean, basically the son of Joseph and son of David. But if you look, was it Matthew chapter 1 verse 1? They reference how Yeshua ties in to everybody from the Old Testament. How they reference and tie him into David anyway. So
Exactly.
what do you want,
Exactly.
son?
Hold up. Okay. Man, that's one thing I don't like about wearing glasses, man. When the
The
debris
glare.
when the debris and stuff and dust get on the glasses, it's like, dang, I can't clean the glasses like every 5 minutes.
Oh, I believe it.
But you take a look at you get a chance to study the Pardes yet?
Nope. I studied that document, that Word document, just a little bit. I haven't got too much off of that document. I just been really trying to study that document, so I just have more of a foundation. Because I haven't read too much of Jubilees. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I've read parts of it, but not too much of it. Um, so I've just been on that document for a little bit. I went back into Genesis to see if I could find like a little more excerpts and things like that to reference to it. Nothing really too crazy or successful. But yep, I just been on that document like crazy.
What you think about it? Let me know.
Hey,
Let me know what you
hey,
think
well,
of the
I
part.
already was in the grid. I was already there anyway. Hey, you know what's crazy is, Sean? Check this out. So they have this wall. It's in Texas, right? Uh, it's like a perimeter, but it's 7 stories high, right? 7 stories, and they like wondering why people would build a wall 7 stories high, like just a wall. And they said
Mm-hmm.
they think it was to keep out giants. They said, why would you build a wall so high unless your enemy was so big? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Crazy. It's crazy though. But yeah, I just watched just that recently, matter of fact. So, hey, this is, man, this is all in due time. This is all supposed to be coming to fruition because there's so many signs and things that's just been happening lately. It's like he's trying to tell us, like, y'all on to the right track. Let me show you. Let me show you. From I mean, all the way from me bringing up the 1,000 days equal to a day, all the way down to where we at right now. Everything just connecting like dots, like clockwork. You feel me? hey, hey, for the past like 3 weeks, Sean, me and you both been like, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute.
Right.
And I didn't see
Right.
things that confirmed. I didn't see a couple show on Nephilim possibly building that wall. I didn't see, man, just all kinds of crazy stuff, Sean. It's like, man, it's gotta be him showing like, yep, this is it.
There, I was watching a presentation on the Nephilim by Rob Skiba,
Hmm.
Skiva. He does a pretty good job. Also, this guy named Doug Hamp. I'll send you the links to him later. But all of those scriptures I put in those documents, he references plus a few more. But he also gives these pictures and these references from other books, especially on I think the megaliths. The
Okay.
megaliths, you know, those big stones where they're looking like
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
and people were like, how do you it's like we don't have the equipment to put stones up like that.
Yeah. Hold on
Somebody
right quick.
did
Hold
that.
on, Sean.
Go ahead.
Hello,
Go
mom.
ahead.
Mom. Wait a minute. Hold on, my mom tried to call me. Hold on, Sean. 1 second.
All right.
Hey, yo, what's up? Where you at? Oh, you're back in the waiting room now? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Maybe. Maybe. I'm. Yeah,
What's
right
up,
across the street at the park.
Osiris?
Okay. Okay. Bye. Hey, so funny story about those. Did you know that those have feet? They're not just heads? Sean.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, hey, so what you were just saying about those statues, you know that they have feet too? They're not just heads.
Yeah.
They dug them up finally. They decided to dig them up.
Right.
Hey, found out it's a full-on statue. It ain't just a
Man.
head.
Where was that at? Where you see that at?
Man, man, you could Google it. Just
Okay.
Google them and then Google dug up and they'll show you them. It's not just the head. It ain't stones that they set there. They dug those stones in there.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a trip.
That's why they're still standing, huh?
Yep.
Right.
Yep. They're dug.
Yeah.
They're literally, I mean, literally, like if you stood in the hole, it probably fit two of you in the hole. And it goes up to just his neck. They're dug in there. They got bodies and everything.
Dang.
Yeah. That's what I
That's
said.
why I got two things to say. That's why for one, that's why I sent you the word Pardes. It's actually PRDS, but they put the E and
Okay.
the S in there. It's actually the levels of Torah study. Okay. So
Really?
yeah, different levels of Torah study. So the P stands for Peshat, which means the plain, literal, natural sense of the word
Yeah.
or the phrase. The remez or the R, the remez means a hint. That means it's hinting to something else. Okay, something is hinting to something else going on. The D stands for dross or drosh, short for midrash, and that is
Oh.
the actual context of what's being studied, and that's where you get into your metaphor, your allegory, and your sud is your actual hidden meaning. Hidden meaning, what the Father really wants you to get out of the thing. Now, when you study on all those four levels, I gave you those levels 1 to 4. PRDS, Peshat, Remez, Drosh, and Sud, right? But
Yeah.
each scripture, each passage, each verse never loses its peshat. Think about that.
Never loses literal meaning.
Right.
Never loses its literal meaning.
Right. But I wanted to show you. There was something. I took a picture of this. Oh yeah. Okay. I took a picture from Rob Siva's. There's also some. There's this book. There's this book called History of Baalbek, and I put that in that Word document because I told you I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
But and this is just for my arsenal, so I'm gonna just let you know right now. If it comes down to Shanti, if you're gonna debate, that's for my arsenal. I'm not trying to, but that's for my arsenal.
Hey, that's your personal sword.
Exactly. Because I don't know if people are willing to even go to these outside teachings or whatnot. But he says Baalbek was built by giants. It says after the flood when Nimrod reigned over Lebanon, he sent giants to rebuild the fortress of Baalbek. And in the book of Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews, book 5, chapter 2, starting at 3. You know what? Let's read that. You got time? Let's read that. Let me get it. It's right here. You got this? You got this?
Okay, I remember that book. Yep.
Okay. This is a good book to get. This is Jewish history.
Oh, okay.
Let's read it. Because this is something I didn't peep here, but he said Antiquities. What is it? Antiquities of the Jews, 523.
Let's see. You want to get in on this action too? You get in on this action.
All right, check this out. Check this out, William. All right, this is Antiquities of the Jews, book number 5, chapter 2, starting at section 3.
Okay.
And in the title of this chapter, it says, how after the death of Yehoshua, their commander, the Israelites transgressed the laws of their country and experienced great afflictions. And when there was a sedition arisen, the tribe of Benjamin was destroyed, excepting only 600 men.
Oh, wow.
The section 3 says, for which reason they removed their camp to Hebron, and when they had taken it, they slew all the inhabitants. There were till then left the race of giants who had bodies so large and countenances so entirely different from other men that they were surprising to the sight and terrible to the hearing. The bones of these men are still shown to this very day, unlike to any creditable relations of other men.
That's crazy. That's crazy. They have already dug up, though, even in America, have dug up skeletons that are fairly intact of giants.
Right. Now, some are hoaxes we have to be careful of, but
right.
There
are, because matter of fact, there was a dude who tried to make a hoax back in the 1800s and put together some retarded looking fossils to show that white people were first on this earth and they came from England. But as we know, that's not the case. But you're right, there are some hoaxes, but there are accounts of people to this day that we have photos of. We have photos of people to this day that stand about 9 feet tall, 8 feet tall. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, there's people that we call it a disease, a genetic mutation, but you know what I'm saying?
Seriously. Actually, yeah. The parashah, the parashah for this week talks about the plagues and diseases and afflictions that the Father will place on the people. for disobeying the Torah. And you know, so these things, you know, once we start searching these things, we have to ask ourselves, are these things too far-fetched for us to believe? That's my take.
That's you know what I'm saying?
That's my take on it. So yeah,
That's
I
what
got
I'm
some more
saying
books
too.
to read on the I got some more books to read and go through on the matter, but just the scriptures I have given you in that Word document alone, William, man.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a trip. Man, hey, just to let you know, if I cut out, it's because I'm using a public network right now. So it might be just a little lag.
Okay, no problem, no
But I'm here
problem.
though. I'm here
Yeah.
though. I just noticed that because I just noticed that it start to do a little glitch.
Oh, okay. You on the phone, huh? Yeah, out and about.
Yeah, I'm on the iPad. I'm sitting right across the street from Sutter. I came with moms to take my step pop to the doctor right quick. And I'm sitting right across the street with Osiris.
Right.
So I'm using their network right now, but just to let you know, just in case.
Oh yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. Don't think that I just up and left. Up and left.
Yeah, no. But yeah,
Come here.
yeah, I'm definitely I mean, like you said, everything coming to full circle. You know, the Father lets things arouse in your spirit or your ruach because He's trying to, you know.
Just like
I've
I'm telling
learned.
you, Don, you ain't got to tell me. No, not bye bye. Come here. Not bye bye. You ain't going nowhere. You over here telling me bye. Like, no, buddy, you ain't going bye. We sit in the Setter's Fort. Can you see it behind me?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, we sit in the Setter's Fort. But yeah, yo, so I feel you on that. That's like I'm saying, just like I told you about Brother Wayne class, man. I was just sitting in my spirit, like, man, something just don't seem right. I don't have a way to prove it, so I'm not gonna argue with that. But something don't seem right. It just don't feel right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I
I
completely
understand.
get that point.
I understand, but that stuff makes me go. I mean, it arouses me to go study.
Oh
You know,
no,
like
I
I
started
told you.
studying. That's why I said I just had to build an argument first. I hadn't pieced together an argument. So before I could piece together the argument, I definitely had to hear what the counter argument was first. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what that was. But now I told you, like when I called you that day, I had everything lined up for probably the past, I'll say about a month before that. I just had to figure out a way to connect the dots for everybody to make sense, to really be like, okay, look, now I got this, and you know what I'm saying? It's sitting with me. Let's see if anybody comes along to prove me wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it didn't happen. So I was like, you know what? It's time to speak on it now. And that's when I had called you that day.
Dang. You call anybody else besides me?
You know what? Not really, because not a lot of people that I talk to on that type of level really get down like that, man. I talk to either a lot of people who are like a lot of Tonys or a lot of Brother Waynes, basically. There really ain't no in between. I talked to a few, like like a couple of Canucks daughters. I talked to about stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, and they cool with it too.
Yeah.
But I never really talked to nobody else like that, but I talked to them a lot. You know, it's funny, is the first time I met Canuck, we started talking about scripture and the Bible. He told me, like, you know, I never put all of my faith or trust in just a book. And I started thinking, like, man, that's weird. Brother, it's the Bible. Like, what are you saying? Until I realized what he was saying. I get it now. Now that I started doing extra studying,
Right.
I get it now. I'm not your mom, man. This kid's so confused.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, but
grandma.
that's just one thing. I mean, as you see, I've been working on it for 2 weeks, but I kind of want to pull from different sources, and I've been updating it with other
you
stuff from Josephus and stuff like that. But
you need to.
I mean,
you have to pull from different sources.
Yeah. And that Pardes, I had to go back and remind myself of the Pardes, PRDS. And I'm like, yeah, Sean, get back to that study. You know what I mean? Get back to that.
PARD.
PRDS.
Yeah.
Pardes. Yeah. Pardes. I mean, William, I'm like, when I study like the Hebrew language and the Masoretic text, and when I started studying these things, I start pulling out, I start going into intricate study, and I don't mean to, but one thing leads me to another. And it allows me to see when somebody's like, okay, well, if somebody's trying to tell me something, I don't just run with it hook, line, and sinker. Like I told you before, I did that back then. I refuse to do it now. you know and so with there's this thing about people not believing in the Messiah anymore who once believed the Messiah, and one of their arguments for not believing in the Messiah anymore is because they quote unquote started reading the Hebrew and see the Masoretic text and see these words that are actually in there and words that are not. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Phone cut out. Okay, it's all good. But yeah, but when I started studying the Hebrew, I started getting into these intricacies, because some people try to pull the Hebrew apart and say, well, we don't believe in Messiah anymore because we see this word in Hebrew, or these Christians added it over here. And I'm like, okay, well, that's why I started studying. And I can see where, people are trying to pick things apart, add things in, take away. And so, like I said, I don't be meaning to get into the deep, intricate studies that I do, but I just do because somebody try to hit me with, I like to say, okey doke. Yeah. So yeah. Right. So yeah, I breaking down. I was talking to this bro a couple months ago, and today I asked him about a lamed. There's a certain type of lamed used in Psalms 110 that people like to pick apart, and people like to say, "Oh, that psalm wasn't written to David; it was." And they want to talk about this lamed called what is it called? Hold up, it's called Arturus or something. Arturus lamed. And it's one of those lameds that says it's actually two or four somebody. It's two or four, not so it's exactly. And yeah, so these things they help. I mean, they help stir things up in my spirit to go seek, and that's what I encourage people and influence people. I guess that's what I encourage people to do. Like, go seek, man. Don't take anybody little opinion or not liking something hook, line, and sinker. I'm like, man, and that's what you did, and I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? And I tell people, don't take nothing I say hook, line, and sinker. I tell people, don't believe me. Yeah, like the Talmud. I let people know I read the Talmud. I don't get into it. I don't get into it where it becomes the Torah, but I reference it because the sages, people don't know that the sages talked about Messiah to come. Even though I mean, and they reference the name Yeshua in the Talmud. And I can start, yeah, and I can start to see where these new ideas come from, of not believing that the Messiah has came. These are fairly new. These are fairly new things that have come from the 10th century and later. Rabbis and sages, there are some rabbis and sages before the 10th century who believed in the Messiah to come, and they believed it was Yeshua, and they wrote about him. So there was plenty of argument back then. But I just encourage people to go seek the information, or I can lead you to where you can go look at it at, you know.
And have open my concordance. But I'm starting to realize that even reading from a concordance is dangerous because it only tells you what the word is. It don't tell you what the whole context of the word is.
Oh, well, hey, check this out. Okay, let me show you something about a concordance. Let me get one out. I'm gonna teach you something. I'm gonna teach you about something about a concordance, and this is what I learned, like with hammers and screwdrivers and tools. Like Torch has a lot of screwdrivers, hammers, and tools, right? But it's one thing to have a hammer. It's another thing to know how to use a hammer. Just because people have a strong concordance, William, doesn't mean they necessarily know how to use it. A lot of Christians have a concordance. They don't necessarily know how to use it. But this is something I learned. Let me pull it out here. Okay, so, and hopefully this will help you.
Yep.
All right, so every word, it's in its call form, QAL. Okay.
Okay.
So the first rendering of a word in the concordance is going to be in its call form. So when I say call, that's what the phonetic is going to be. Ah.
Okay.
Like I just opened this book up and it says malak or dalak or
Okay.
shalach, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be in its basic form, which is its call form, and it's going to have your patak and your hamat sound. Okay. When you get into Hebrew 303, that's when you start making sense of the nikudot or the vowel points. The vowel points either is going to tell you if a word is in a nifal form, or in a PL form, or in a hifil form, or in a hipayel form. All right. Let me read something to you from this learn biblical Hebrew. All right. So let me pull this page up, and I'm gonna just run down just a little bit for you. Not too much, but just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, because this is what happens when people start listening to other people and don't pick up credible sources. But this is a credible source. This is a credible source, people. This is Learn Biblical Hebrew by John Dobson. It comes with a CD. But hold up, let me get to it. All right, here we go. So in Nifal, it's gonna have your it's gonna have a word that is gonna have that phonetic if all in it, right? So if I say the word keep in his call form, it says he kept is shamar, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the nifal form is gonna say mishmar, nifal, mishmar, right? And that's gonna say he was guarded, or he took, he kept, or he was guarded. So he kept or he guarded. Okay.
And then it tells you the tense of the relationship. Because was guarded is a past tense.
Thank you. And your nikud is gonna have your hifil, and it's gonna have your patah. So nifal, nishmar. Your PL, okay. Your PL, the word shamar is now shemer, PL, shemer, hidik sedeh, right? And it's gonna say he honored. Okay. And the word shamar or keep, it doesn't have a hifil, and a hifil is to cause to the hifil is the causing, doing, or being, or declaring. Now I'll get to that in just a second. But in the heat payel, the word shamar, in the heat payel, it's gonna say EIL. And right off the bat, you can tell EIL, Yisrael. It's a heat payel. And in shamar, it went from keep in its call form to he took heed, or he observed. Okay, so let me explain this and real quick. A word in its call form or its root form, it's gonna have 3 letters, 3 Hebrew letters or 2. That's the root. Okay, so it's an action or a state. So the word sha'al, in its action state is he asked. He asked, right? All right. A word in its nifal, it's gonna be in a passive, reflexive, or reciprocal. Okay. So the word nishbar, it was broken, or nishalach, he was sent. Okay. A word in its PL, it's a strong action, or it's factative of making something, or it's urging others, or it's doing an action related to a noun or declaring something. So EL. So like when you're urging somebody, when you say he begged, it's gonna say he begged. PL. It sounds like that. Okay. Right? Like the word, okay, so let me go quick. A hefil is gonna sound like that. Eil, right? A hefil is when you're causing, when you're doing, when you're being, or when you're declaring.
Okay, so it's an action.
Yeah.
Got you.
Okay, so like the word gadol, right? The word gadol is great. So when I say hifil, it says he made great. Right? You see us? Okay. All right. Okay, and the heat payel means you're doing to or for oneself, or when you're doing together reciprocally, or when you're doing repetitively or continually, or when you're acting or pretending. Okay, so the words are gonna have an EIL sound to it, right? EIL, right? Let me see. Heat halek. He went to and fro, or he went continually. You know what I'm saying? But let me see something here. That's great. Okay, so let me use the word gadol again. All right, I'm going to use the word gadol. Gadol means great or big, right? So in a heat payel, it's going to sound like heat gadel. He magnified himself. So that right there is just to let you know people don't know how to use a concordance because they don't necessarily study how. Right. So when you read a concordance now, it's going to say, oh, if this word was in the nifal, it would be this. If the word was in a PL, it would be this. If a word is in a heat field, it would be this.
And I was always wondering what that PL and all that stuff meant. Like, what I don't even know what it means. Like, I was thinking it's like you know how in the dictionary it says like noun and verb and adverb next to it. That's what I thought that was. Like,
that's what it is. That's what it is. They're telling you what tense the word is in, what action, what verb the word is in. Okay. You get it now? So that's why I said that's Hebrew 303.
Okay, you start making them links up.
Right.
Grammatical.
Right. You're gonna see it. Yep. You're gonna get into the grammar if it's first person, second person, third person, or third person singular, or third person plural, or second person singular, or second person plural. You know, the way the jots and tittles goes, they don't just give you the phonetics, they give you the morphology. which means they let you know if it's past, present, future. If you're talking to a boy, you're talking to a girl. You know, I mean, yeah, makes sense now, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's why I tell people like a lot of people. Oh, not a lot of people, but when I first came on to looking up Hebrew stuff, right, on the internet, I heard a lot of people say shalom, and then I heard a lot of people say shalom, right? And I was like, where they getting that from? So there's this teaching going around from, you know, like some of the East Coast camps, and they're teaching, they're teaching that the Paleo Hebrew only had the or A class vowels because of the fact that the Strong's Concordance possibly, you know, they're getting from there, because the basic of a word in a Strong's Concordance has the call, and that's why you're in the call, and the basis of a word, you're going to get the sound.
Okay.
So they're teaching that the Paleo Hebrew is just the sound, and I'm like, nah. Paleo is just a different picture form of the same language, the same phonetics, and the same numeric value.
Cyrus, come here. That's like how people try to. That'd be like somebody trying to say cursive is different than print because it's cursive. Now.
Exactly. Right. That's it.
Only thing is somebody decided they picked their pen off the paper after they made the A, and they did it on this one.
Exactly. And the difference is in that is because after they came back after the Israelites came out of Babylonian captivity, you know, they started getting influenced by the Aramaic block style. And that's why we have our Hebrew script in the Aramaic block style, because of Ezra the scribe. So, I mean, yeah, and if y'all hear me out there, please study on your own, go back and research what I said. I didn't just get this stuff out of nowhere. But yeah. but yeah, so I mean, and that's why, like William, I encourage people. I mean, you know, Hebrew has been influenced by, you got instead of your wa, you have your vav, and you know, it was influenced by all these things, but Hebrew has always been influenced by other languages going on around them. You know, Hebrew has been influenced by Akkadian, or Syriac, and Phoenician, you know.
Well, honestly, I mean, every language evolves. Look at the way that even our own language that we use every day evolves, but it doesn't mean that we don't understand each other, because we are talking to each other at the same time. We understand the context.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Remember back in the day when everybody would be like, oh, that's bad, or that truck is bad, and people were like, so bad means good? It's the same. It's just a word that we use, but we understand it in a context. All languages evolve, but that doesn't justify the fact that it's a faulty language,
right?
Because it evolved. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, right. I could go to somebody. I don't speak too much Spanish, but if I go to you and say "hola," you don't know I mean hello, or you're gonna say, you know, no, whatever. You know what I'm saying? We all speak in context. Right. So I think that's honestly why I want to start getting into the 303, and that's why I was kind of confused on the concordance, because I was like, okay, I see the word, I know what the word is now, but it's not given to me in the context that I'm not sure if this is the proper context of this, so I can understand, you know, fully the word. You know what I'm saying? Right. Right. So, but yeah, you know, I know a lot of people that like to do that. Just try to throw it out just because it's been changed, but they don't realize the language changes every day. Right. You know, people change their own language and make slang, and then slang becomes the new. You know what I'm saying? You got the Urban Dictionary now. And it's like, man, the language changes every day. Every day, man. Every day. Every day, but that doesn't take away from the meaning of what you're trying to say, just because the way that you say it or the word that you associate with that particular meaning is different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, definitely. And I encourage you and anybody out there listening or watching, go study Eleazar ben Yehuda, go study Shammai, go study Hillel, and go see how the Masoretes or the traditionalists came up with these nakudo or vowel points, and how their phonetics go, because
contrary to popular belief, the phonetics of Hebrew, they had to find a way to preserve what they were already doing in their liturgical services. They were already singing the Hebrew in songs. You know what I'm saying? So they had to find a way to preserve the phonetic sounds, and that's why the Masoretes, starting in the 5th century, came up with the Nakudot system. So they didn't just pull these vowel points out of their hat like rabbits, you know. They were saying it already in their services, in their prayers, in their psalms, you know. And so they just found a way to transfer the phonetics into the consonants. And that's why I threw them names out there for people to go study. Eliezer ben Yehuda. I think the study the Masoretes, and I think you'll hear names of Hillel and hear names of Shammai. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Hebrew 303, William. I think you'll have a great appreciation for it when you start looking into it. Definitely. Because you're gonna be like, oh wow. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I believe it. I 100,000% believe
it. Man, and I was like, I was like, no wonder I can get this language, because it's not really difficult. It follows a pattern.
Yeah, it's a logical pattern. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a logical pattern. That's cool though, and that's like, you know, just exactly what I was saying. It's not, I didn't necessarily know how to use my concordance, but I was reading things and I'm like, okay, this gives me just the word, but it doesn't necessarily give me the word on how it's used. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I can see the rest of it, but the rest of it applied to English. It ain't like I can highlight the whole sentence and it tells me, you know, it breaks down into the nitty gritty, the whole sentence. No, it ain't like that. It's word for word. So, you know, studying something word for word, that becomes dangerous after a while.
Right.
You start taking just the verbatim meaning of the word, you know,
right.
Parties.
Right.
Parties, you know,
right.
Can't do it all the time.
You gotta have those 4 levels that work together.
Yep, that 4 levels work together. You know, that just goes to show that idioms have always also played a role too. We got so many idioms.
Yeah.
If I were to go to somebody that never learned English and just learned English, you know, one day ago, and I said, "Who do you think you are?" They're gonna be like, "My name is so and so."
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's not what that means. You can't just take everything as verbatim as that's exactly what it is. It's a context to it.
Right.
You know, everything has a context to it. But I appreciate you finally explaining that to me, because I was thoroughly lost and I thought it just meant something regular.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, that's what this is about. You know, if we can't take time during after a Shabbat, if we can't take time, you know, doing other things, we just, you know, break it down for a couple of hours, one day a week. Not too much, not too little, but that's what this is about.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. And I'm all for it too. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is cool. But all right, so I gotta run. I'm about to get him settled in and get going. Run back to the house. I gotta run in this hospital too, right quick.
Right on. All right. Well, I'm gonna close it out with some music. I'll holler at you later. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom. All right, y'all. Hey, I'll see you on Shabbat.
For sure.
All righty.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Go on. All right, for those of you who watched First Tabernacle Fellowship, Turn Up and Talk It Out Tuesdays, Youth Roundtable Forum, you see how we get down. We just start talking. And we come up with topics. We bring them to the table. We elaborate on them, talking about them. And you can get in too if you want. So next week, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will go ahead and send out the direct link to get into the Hangouts forum. And also, you can go to the YouTube live. That's www.youtube.com/C/Ashanti Belton, ASHANTI BELTON. There's a link you can click on the live YouTube stream to come into the meeting. If you're having difficulty coming into that meeting by clicking the link, make sure your phone, your iPad, your computer has all of the plugins to be able to come into the meeting, okay? All right, so it's your girl Ashanti signing off. To those who couldn't make it this time, hopefully you'll make it next time. To William Casper who joined us, thank you. And to anybody watching, shalom, shalom.